and he's also getting up the expansion here at the gold as well. Both players macroing up. We do see a warp prism coming in from Minigun, so we will be able to see this expansion, perhaps warping in a few zealots. He is at max pylon usage at the 200 there, but he does have room underneath of it. And it looks like we will have zealots coming in and a few high Templar as well. So this is very smart play. He's going to be able to storm the SCVs and then take down the remaining SCVs with zealots. Drewbie needs to get these SCVs out of these storms, and it looks like he's going to be trailing right through the storms. A lot of SCVs at half health. The rest of them will be saved as he is pulling back here. Doesn't have much troop movement, so he's not going to be able to save these refineries. At least the orbital command did lift off, and the Archon is working furiously on that. But now just a few troops from Drewbie, hoping to be able to clean this up, and I'm not sure it's going to be enough. With the medevac, it may be. So we do have an EMP go off by that Ghost, so going to weaken the Archon quite a bit, as it does take 100 shield damage. Now Minigun needs to get out here with that Warp Prism. Warp Prism, so little HP, 40 shields and 100 HP. So they are like paper dolls flying around and very easy to take down. You have to protect them. So both players showing a little bit of drop aggression. Looks like we have a 5th command center on the way for Drewbie about to complete. If you look at the harvester count, 106 for Minigun at this point. So very, very saturated. 2 pages of workers here. 25 workers on these 8 mineral fields is not very effective compared to just 16 workers on 8. So it looks like he is way oversaturated on all of these. 106 harvesters to 73. So as Day 9 says, you do want to keep creating pylons and harvesters, but at some point you really need to stop, as he's limiting his army to only 94 supply at this point. Drewbie's going to have 125 supply. One of the advantages the Terran does have is they will be able to mine with the mules, and the mules do not take up any supply. So as both players get closer to the supply cap, Drewbie is going to be able to have fewer SCVs and keep up the same mining as Minigun. If you look at the resources, Minigun's not really using his resources. He is up at 2,000 and 1,200, so not doing a great job macroing, not doing a great job with the upgrades either. He just has the 1 forge, now getting his +3 armor. So foregoing any sort of attack upgrades, as we do see this Ghost come in getting a lot of good EMPs. We see all these units, very low shields, and now going to be engaging these siege tanks. Not a very good time to do that, as the shields are low. So we see Drewbie going to be able to clean up all those zealots, but the Colossus are going to be able to do a lot of damage against these supply depots. Pretty good positioning of supply depots in front of the bunkers, a la StarCraft 1 style. And it's going to deny the zealots any surface area on these bunkers. And now more tanks being moved into position here. We do have 6 tanks on the field, as well as a few battle cruisers. So it looks like Drewbie is using this income, these 5 bases right now, to get out battle cruisers. Minigun finally getting up another forge and going to be working on the level 1 ground upgrade. Also working on a number of immortals, so he does want to counter these tanks with immortals. They're going to take very little damage from the splash initially, and they also do the extra damage to the armored tanks. So really needs to work on these upgrades, and possibly even working on shield upgrades after he finishes this ground armor level 3 from that first first forge he built. Looks like we do have Yamato cannon coming out for Drewbie, so he will be able to Yamato with the battle cruisers he's working on. Let's look at the production structures for both players. We do have 6 barracks here. Looks like we have 4 starport, 3 with tech labs, 1 with the reactor, and then also looks like 4 of the factories, as the battlecruiser is now going to be able to do work on these stalkers, taking them down, and Minigun warping and zealots not going to do much against these battlecruisers. They cannot jump that high. So the battlecruisers are also 1-1 at this point, doing 7 damage and then 9 damage as well. So battlecruisers really need to start focusing down things here. Could be focusing down the Colossus. Again, Minigun getting into the 1A move syndrome with his army. Let's back up just a little bit here. Don't want to miss that. Looks like Drewbie was attacking with those battlecruisers up here and also doing a drop in the south. And Minigun, having to split up his forces a little bit, used a lot of the warp gate warp-ins at the north there on zealots, in fact, to try to take down those battlecruisers. But some great storms with these very high energy High Templar were able to shut that down, and now just has to deal with these battlecruisers, warping in more stalkers, as we see that there can be feedback used on these battlecruisers, but the battlecruisers have so much life compared to their energy. 550 life and 200 energy. The feedback is going to do a lot of damage, but it cannot kill them. And Drewbie going to use this opportunity perhaps to push out with these tanks and push forward with this siege. If we look at the army tab for both players, 199 to 188, 4600 to 4500. Having a few storms on his own units there. Don't really understand that. And now going to be engaging here, sieging up. He does need to take down these Colossus. He has a few Vikings coming in here. They are going to be able to take down the Colossus. Not a lot of Stalkers to take down these Vikings. And if these Colossus are able to take down the tanks, that could be huge, as you do not want tanks outside your base. And it looks like the Colossus are going to go down here. If this Viking is able to stay alive, a few more Stalkers coming in. And it looks like that Colossus is going to be safe, down to just 48 HP. And Drewbie down to 140 of 200. If you look at the income, still 106 harvesters for Minigun at this point. So he has about 30 extra harvesters. So we have to keep that in mind when we do look at the army count. And we have to subtract about 30 of it. So it is about 170 to 155 right now. We have more battlecruisers, and he's not using these battlecruisers with his army, which is very interesting. He's actually using them all alone. I don't really agree with this. If he does focus down these stalkers, he may be able to take on the army here and take out a few of the units which are not anti-air. So Minigun's going to have to warp in a lot of stalkers here. The High Templar are not going to help him, doing another two-prong attack, coming in here with Marines and Marauders, and these battlecruisers are going to be trying to take down these stalkers, but just not enough firepower from those two battlecruisers. And Drewbie going to have to pull back here. Looks like we are going to have a drop. Medevac very low, so he has to watch that. And let's see if these photon cannons are able to take down that medevac. Looks like they are going to attack the high HP medevac. And now focusing down these photon cannons. Minigun being a little bit lazy using photon cannons to defend these bases, but look at the minerals that he has right now. 5,400, so he's got to spend these minerals somehow. He is maxed out at 200, 200. Looks like both players about close to max, so we will see a lot of blood being shed here as the players just throw their armies against each other, and they have so many minerals waiting. So both players should be throwing down more and more production structures. Let's see if we have any more barracks from the Terran player. It looks like we do not have any being created. It looks like we have actually quite a few in the middle of the map. So at least 11 barracks, if I have not missed any. Now working on another 2 command centers. So I'm not sure where he's going to be expanding to. He could be using these as planetary fortresses in the center of the map just to hold. He does not have many tanks right now, though. No tanks, in fact. It looks like we have Cloaked Banshees coming in, but there was an observer there, able to get a lot of feedbacks on those Banshees, taking them down very quickly, and then more storms coming in, going on Drewbie's army here, and Drewbie doing a bad job not microing at all out of those storms, so taking a lot of damage, trying to rely on the medevacs to heal up the units, but it's just going to be not enough. As we do see units jumping back into the bunkers of Drewbie here, another Cloaked Banshee. I think the tower did focus down the observer, as it didn't have much else to attack after the Colossus. And now we have Minigun streaming in more and more units, 200 or 2,500 compared to the 1,200 of Drewbie. And now these Zealots are going to go to work on these SCVs. We have another storm coming in, trying to take down the reinforcing units of Drewbie. So Drewbie going to try to hold this ramp, kiting away from these Zealots. Going to be rallying all these units. He does have 10 Marauders on the way, as well as 3 battlecruisers. So if they are able to show up, and he's able to take down the remaining units from Minigun, it looks like Minigun is trying to reinforce here with more units, and he's actually going to be able to pick off the line of reinforcements Drewbie has. Drewbie did stim up there to try to make it past those reinforcing units of Minigun. Now going to be pulling back into a ball, kiting away from these Zealots best he can, trying to keep concussive shell on as many Zealots as possible, doing a good job getting in the corner here, away from the Zealots, but it's going to open him up to that storm, and he's not going to be able to get out of there. So now the Zealots are going to be able to take care of those Marauders, but more Marauders and Marines at the top of the ramp here, and they are going to be able to clean that up. So it looks like the command centers were either canceled or taken down in the skirmish there. Drewbie able to finally push out. And it looks like Minigun has established another base up here, so he will soon be on 6 bases, but he's mined out completely out of his main and his natural. He's got a few probes not doing anything here. Needs to get those to work in this this island expansion. Looks like we have more pressure from the Zealots. Both players spending all that excess minerals right now. Minigun on a number of gates. If we look, he's got at least 7 gates here, and then in his main, he's got, holy shit, he's got 19 gates. So he is going to be able to warp in units so quickly using all those excess minerals. Still at 3,012 or 1,400 gas. We do see that the vehicle weapon, the vehicles are upgraded. The battlecruisers are 3-3. Vehicles are now 2-0, about to be 3-0. We have a number of force fields or feedbacks going off on the battlecruisers, but it looks like Drewbie is going to be able to clean up the attack of Minigun here. Minigun's going to be warping in more and more units. Zealots don't really understand this. Perhaps should be going for Stalkers to take down the battlecruisers. Do not want to get him, allow him to get to a critical mass of battlecruisers here. Once he gets out 5 to 7, it's going to be very difficult to take down with the few